Election 2024 is over. America has voted, and both sexism and racism have won the day. On Liberal Dan Radio, we will hold everyone accountable, from the media that failed to report the threat that Trump poses to this nation, to the people who supported him. We will pick up the mantle to educate the people about his actions, from being dictator on day one, pardoning January 6th domestic terrorists, implementing Project 2025, and any other draconian measures he tries to pass. And now, the resistance begins. Welcome, Liberal Danimals, to Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. This is your host, Dan Zimmerman, coming at you from New Orleans, Louisiana. To join the conversation, just join us in the chat rooms at liberaldanradio.com or twitch.tv/liberaldanradio. Either way, we'll get you into a chat room, and I'll try to respond as quick as possible. When we do open up the phone lines, the phone number will be 562-LIBDAN1. That's 562-LIBDAN1. 562-542-3261 is the phone number that you can use later in the show when I open up the phone lines after I get over some of our stuff that we will be talking about. We got some people in the chat already. We've got Aaron, we got Jackie, Suzanne, Jan, Steve from across the pond.
If it's no Scottish, it's crap.
We've got, let's see, who did I miss? Is it Jackie Jan? Yeah. Someone said, hi, Jackie Jan. I was like, isn't that a Asian karate actor? So that's Jackie Chan, I know. Got Jeff from around Uranus, and closer to Uranus than I am, that's for sure. What's going on, Joe? How are you? Progressively Independent, nice to see you as well. Arizona Sunflowers, again, thank you for being a Liberal Dan patron. Appreciate you for that. I think that's still the most recent one there. So thank you, Josh. Good to see you as well. Everybody, thank you for stopping in early and coming by, supporting the show. The best things that can be done to support the show is, of course, watching other videos when we're not live, liking, sharing, commenting, etc. Getting the algorithm up, because as we all know, Al Gore needs more rhythm. And if you want to help the show other ways, you have the possibility. I'm still doing, I think there's about 2 weeks left in this game. So I'm going to, the pinned link is the link in each chat is the link to the GoFundMe. However, I'm also going to post the Best Fiends link, if you want to help the Nerdy Dan stream, which is all part of the same umbrella. If you want to help that out, it's free to play. Get up to at least level 180 and it'll be good for me. I don't know how reasonable it is to get beyond level 180. I have had problems with getting past, I think, 182 without spending money. If you do want to spend money, wait till the end and then spend the $2.99 on some sort of pack, and that'll actually get me $4 and a free gift membership over there on Twitch as well. So thank you all for everybody who has downloaded that. If you haven't downloaded it, it's just another free way to help the show. There's also the GoFundMe. My wife's still in the hospital. She should still be there for at least another 2 weeks. Going through rehab, things are looking positive. They're progressing in a positive way. I feel like I don't want to jinx it, but I do want to, say that I am in a much better place than I was 2 Wednesdays ago. That's for darn sure. Venmo, Liberal Dan on Venmo. Buy me a cider. Go to liberaldan.com, click the Buy Me a Cider button, or go to buymeacoffee.com/liberaldanradio. You can contribute one time there, or become a Liberal Dan patron, patreon.com/liberaldan, or patreon.liberaldan.com. Either, way will get you there. And thank you again, Arizona. Again, I always get it. Like, should I call somebody a Patreon? Is it a Patreon? Should I call people patrons? I don't know. Just everyone who supports the show is a Liberal Danimal. That's my opinion on the thing. So everyone, Liberal Danimals. So, but again, if you can't help the GoFundMe just by contributing, at least share it to your socials. Say, hey, this guy needs a little bit of help. Good to see you, Jolie. Thanks for stopping by. One half of the best mod squad there. Thank you for the $9.99 super chat as well. Appreciate you, Zona. Arizona. Anyway. So, lots of stuff to talk about. We're still going to give some people time to trickle in to start the show. I had to bring this up because it's in my Facebook memories, and it was just so funny that I had to reshare it from my Facebook memories, but I had to share it here as well because it's a really funny short story that took place with my youngest son. So my youngest son was having difficulties in school trying to understand the difference between the main idea and a central idea of a story. And it had been a while since I really thought about that. So I kind of looked it up and was like, okay, let's try and get a few examples or whatever. And once I did a little bit amount of refreshing my memory on the differences between the two, I went ahead and started trying to explain it to him. Good to see you, Big Hook. Nice to see you, Highlander. Did I see Highlander? I don't know. Did I miss that? I don't know. Anyway, so trying to explain him the difference between a central idea and a main idea. I used the story of Cinderella. And so I say, the main idea of Cinderella is that Cinderella gets mistreated by her stepfamily, but at the end she ends up with the prince. The central idea is that if you're somebody who is nice, good things happen to you in the end. My youngest child's response, so that's why it's fiction? I'm like, you are way too young to be this cynical, kid. I mean, how does somebody that, under 10 or under get to the point where he's that cynical, where he thinks the idea, if you're nice, if you're someone who's nice, good things happen to you in the end, and he's like, oh, that must be fiction then. I'm like, wow. I mean, he is a smart aleck kid, too smart for his own good sometimes, but I just had to I had to. Oh, okay. Steve is Highlander. That makes sense. But I don't want only one Scotsman watching the show. I want as much Scotsmen as possible. Because, as they say...
If it's no Scottish, it's crap!
Anyway. But yeah, my kids are a constant source of amusement when they're not, when they're not listening. Or when they listen. When they listen and when they do what they're supposed to do, lots of fun and enjoyment. When they don't do what they're supposed to do and help out around the house when I'm trying to do everything while Cassie's in the hospital, that's a different story. But a different story for a later day, I suppose. It is a fairy tale, it is fiction, but I was just like, wow, kid, that's just oof. I don't know. I mean, yes, I'm cynical sometimes, but I don't remember being that cynical that young. So, anyway, got 15 people in. We could start, I guess, talking about some of the stuff that we want to talk about. Let's start talking about this. Let's flip it over here. Go to the alternate and H.R. 1161, the Red, White, and Blue Land Act of 2025, sponsored by Representative Carter, Earl L. Buddy Carter, representative of Georgia's 1st Congressional District. H.R. 1161, to authorize the president to enter into negotiations to acquire Greenland and to rename Greenland as Red, White, and Blue Land. Mr. Carter of Georgia introduced the following bill, blah, 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 blah. Short title, act may be cited as the Red, White, and Blue Land Act of 2025. The president is authorized to enter into negotiations with the government of Denmark to purchase or otherwise acquire Greenland. So, otherwise acquire. That sounds, suspicious. Renaming. Greenland shall be known as Red, White, and Blue Land. References. Any reference in law, map, regulation, document, paper, or other record of the United States to Greenland shall be deemed to be a reference to Red, White, and Blue Land. In general, the Secretary of the Interior, acting through the chairman of the Board of the Geographic Names, shall oversee the implementation of the renaming described in subsection A with respect to each federal document and map. No later than 180 days after the date of enactment, the head of each federal agency shall update each document and map of the federal agency in accordance with the renaming described in subsection A. I mean, are they frickin' serious? Like, this is why we say that children are in charge of our government right now. I mean, we already knew that Donald Trump is a petulant child. I mean, hell, Elon Musk's son X has more sense than Donald Trump does, especially because he told him to shut the F up. That being said, I mean, you don't have to be complicit with his tomfoolery to make a frickin' act over something that's never going to happen. Denmark is never going to sell Greenland. The only way that the United States would get Greenland is if they found other means to acquire it, as they said, or otherwise acquire, i.e. they would probably have to invade it and then hope that Denmark and NATO didn't mind. It's absurd. It's 100% ridiculous. They are making a mockery of our government. They are making a mockery of this nation. They are making a mockery of us all. And all y'all who, thought that there was no difference between Biden and Trump on various issues, Biden wouldn't have embarrassed us like this. Harris wouldn't have embarrassed us like this. But Donald Trump is a continuous embarrassment to this nation. And I hope that more and more people just start learning and realizing how badly they exactly effed up. How bad we effed up as a country and how badly they effed up by not getting over themselves and understanding what Donald Trump absolutely could do or actually I should say President Musk should do, because that's basically what we have at this point. Even though he's not a natural-born citizen, President Musk is basically the de facto president, as could be seen in the video that we will show in a little bit, where he's standing and, giving the conversation, and Donald Trump's just sitting there like Elon Musk's little bitch. So, but yeah. Frickin' red, white, and blue land. I'm surprised he didn't just say, let's call it Trumplandia. Should have just called it Dumbfuckistan. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Do you think that this is a smart idea? Agree, disagree, leave your comments down below. Like, subscribe, and of course, have a good day. And of course, I recorded that. And as I'm recording a lot of other things, I would like to hear, I did see Joe. Wait, hold on. Yakety smack, don't talk back. Anyway, let's see. Expanding the country into another sovereign country is wrong. I mean, the Republicans wanted to talk about how Donald Trump is not going to get us into more foreign entanglements. Joe, yes, Kamala Harris is a natural-born citizen. Conservatives don't understand what natural-born citizens are. But Elon Musk is clearly not a natural-born citizen, though he's our now de facto president. I would like to see Joe comment, though, on this particular thing. Do you really think that this is a mature action for the president of the United States to be taking? Is this how, the president should act? Is this how our members of Congress should act? Should we really be worrying and doing this sort of stuff? I mean, is this really just to, quote, own the libs? Or, are they serious? Regardless of if it's to own the libs, then, you know what, you're too immature to be serving in public office. That's not what your job is as an elected official, as a congressperson, as president, as a senator, whatever. Your job is not to own the other side, to own the libs. Your job is to, get work done for the betterment of the American people. Acquiring Greenland via sale or other measures, hey Rose, is not anyway going to make us better. It's not going to make us great. Joe, how does it benefit the American people? What possible thing could it benefit? I mean, it's my opinion that Donald Trump saw Greenland on the map and didn't actually look at what it looks like. And, oh, it's a Greenland. It must be beautiful. I can build several resorts on it. Like, it's absurd. In Arizona, I'm not necessarily going to whatchamacallit, label all South Afrikaners, the white folks from South Africa, as all being racist. I'm not going to prejudge all of them. However, it is clear that Musk is one because of his Nazi salute. So, let's see how far we've plummeted with DJ2. And it hasn't even been a month. The stock market doesn't like what's going on. Foreign nations look at us as if we were an embarrassment because we are. He was jealous. He wants his own Green Deal. That comment makes me mad, Jeff. It makes me mad because I didn't think of it first. So, yeah, right-wing Republicans have blood on their hands. Oh, absolutely, Christina, that's absolutely right, Republicans. How many needless deaths are going to happen because of Doge? How many people are going to die that should not have died because of Doge? Yes, my cat has a cloaking device. Strategy against our advertisers? Do you mean adversaries? I mean, I don't want to work against any advertisers that I might have, but I'm guessing you mean adversaries. What strategery, as a former president might have said, or at least Will Ferrell as a former president might have said, what strategery do you think that this does? Or is it just the fact that, oh, Donald Trump's playing three-dimensional chess and it's not our purpose. We don't need to know why Donald Trump is obsessed with Greenland. We just need to trust Donald Trump that he's doing what's best for the American people. Hostages are being freed. Hostages have nothing to do with acquiring Greenland. Nothing. There's nothing about hostages with Greenland. It doesn't happen. So be prepared. Dems are going to shut down. They are already talking about it. They aren't helping right-wing Republicans. And our government, let's see, he probably can't grasp regular chess. No, he can't. I'm sure he can't even. Donald Trump probably can't even grasp checkers. I'm sure my 12-year-old now, my now 12-year-old kid could probably play Donald Trump in checkers and whoop his ass. So what is it? Josh says 205 weeks to go. Let's hope it's less, right? Natural causes, Secret Service, natural causes. Not hoping for any bad actors or bad actions going on. Wouldn't mourn it, but I'm not hoping for bad actors or making any threats. I'm just saying natural causes happen to old people all the time. So, see you next Tuesday. There's another funny story about my younger son. My younger son is like, would go around and he would be basically saying, see you next Tuesday, see you next Tuesday. And because he was such a young kid at the time when he was doing it, I didn't really have any thoughts into him. I didn't think about anything else. I'm just like, okay, he's saying see you next Tuesday. Had somebody else called somebody a see you next Tuesday, I would have understood it completely. But for some reason, it just wasn't triggering in my head that him just telling everybody see you next Tuesday was him saying something that might have been taken as inappropriate, until we went to Disney World with my mom and stepdad, and all of a sudden the first thing he says is see you next Tuesday, and she's like, my mom's like, and I'm like, oh, he's been saying that a while now and I haven't caught on. Biden did nothing. The Middle East was in upheaval. Biden negotiated and got the deal signed for the hostages, and Trump is now putting that deal at risk by threatening to, raise Gaza and rebuild it, remove all of the Palestinians out of it. Donald Trump is going to make more terrorists by these actions. It's ridiculous. The Doge crusade is about a government history. It's about making Elon Musk richer at your expense. Partially. And we'll talk about that more in a little bit as well. But first and foremost, we got 24 viewers. I did want to talk about this one thing. A little bit of jocularity, if you will. Mebga, is what it should be called. That's like MEBGA, make eating beaver great again. What am I talking about? Well, I saw this headline pop in my news, and Minnesota senator wants to make it legal to eat beavers again. I had no idea it was illegal. I've been breaking the law all this time, apparently. Apparently, at least in Minnesota, it's not legal to eat beaver. I wonder what the divorce rate is like in Minnesota if it's not legal to eat beaver. Let's see. After a change last year, it is legal to eat beaver meat in Minnesota. Minnesota Senator is now proposing the state reverse that ban. We'll get to the other part in a second. Backstory: under the state law, homeowners are allowed to trap or kill beaver that might be causing damage to the property. You're not allowed to poison beaver, though. I mean, who would want to poison beaver? Let's see. Beavers can be a nuisance when populations become too large. I mean, who doesn't want more beaver in their lives, right? A DNR notes that a single beaver can cut down hundreds of trees a year. That's a lot of wood for that beaver to ingest, don't you think? And I don't know. I think a beaver could handle a lot more wood than just 100, don't you think? Law change for eating beaver in Minnesota. The change was questioned by Senator Steve Green, who couldn't understand it. He couldn't understand why it was against law to eat beaver. Senator Fang Hodge from St. Paul indicated there were concerns about the potential of disease, I guess, from eating beaver. But, you get yourself tested and you can probably, beavers use dams a lot, use a dental dam. That's all perfectly well and good. I'm still not sure why it's in the bill, said Senator Green. I can tell you that even though I personally don't go out and trap beavers to eat them, well, that's good. I mean, otherwise that would be like, assault, right? If you had to trap a beaver to eat it, you should normally be waiting for the beaver to, to allow, or to get consent at least, right? Before devouring said beaver. What do beavers taste like? YouTube channel Mountain Me Outdoors has a video where he tries beaver for the first time. I mean, he tries beaver for the first time on YouTube? I didn't think that was allowed on YouTube. There are a lot of things that people can get away with on YouTube, but when I was going to talk about stuff like that, I thought I was going to have to make a whole new channel, like Liberal Dan After Dark or whatever, to start talking all about eating beaver. Apparently, it's not just okay to talk about eating beaver on YouTube. You can actually show the first time eating beaver. So, anyway, what do you think? Do you think it should be legal to eat beaver in Minnesota or anywhere else? Do you think that people should be banned from eating beaver? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and unless you're a Nazi, have a good day. Anyway. Yes, I get it. The anagram. Yes. Make eating beaver great again. Anyway. I just figured I would have a good time with that. Because, why wouldn't I? We all need a lot of jocularity. We have to find ways to laugh in the hellscape that is Donald Trump's America at this point. Joe says Trump getting things done. Like what? Nothing. Nothing is getting done. See, I have a very simple political philosophy, Jan says, that worked very well. I never vote Republican. Fair enough. Yeah, Musk got a new government contract for $38.8 million from NASA this week. When Trump was sworn in, Elon Musk corporations were more than 32 investigations conducted by at least 11 federal agencies. And of course, with all of this spending freezes that are going on, they make an exception for Elon Musk's company, right? And they also, Joe, I'd like to get your opinion on this one as well. Why is it okay that Elon Musk gets to determine whether or not he has a conflict of interest with whatever it is he is looking at with the unfettered access that he has to our government's information? Do you think that that's a good way to handle conflicts of interest, to allow the person with the potential conflict to determine whether or not it's a conflict or not? That's just absurd. That's just 100% absurd. So, what else? What else should we talk about? I have a bunch of... Unfortunately, I have a bunch of stuff that I recorded that I didn't upload, so I might have to do that after the show. We'll see. I have a bunch of catching up to do on stuff that I made. I did make sure to post the Fat Man Rants, you know. See, poor Dawn Alert must be blushing like a beaver. Yes, I did see that. Another plane crash in San Diego, which in German is German for, well, if you've seen Anchorman, you know what it stands for. Fighter Day. Hey, Orvilby over on Twitch. Good to see you. Thank you for joining the show. Let's see. Blue, obviously very funny. Red, F-em, ban it. I was really wanting Impeccable Living to come in during that bit and ask his opinion about eating beaver. You know, just because, you know, yeah. Elon Musk is unpaid. That is Aaron, I just got a 44-pound dog off my lap. Aw. Speaking of dogs, please give good thoughts to my youngest pup, Stan. I think he might have an infection. I have to bring him to the vet tomorrow. He's been acting really weird. He's been licking himself on his neck. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully, we'll be able to get to the bottom of it. But yeah. Poor Stan. And of course, all of the animals miss their mama because, you know, they love her the most. I mean, Rose clearly does like me a bit for joining me every once in a while for the podcast. Gloria hates me. Sophia likes me. Blanche likes me. Stan seems to like me, but he doesn't want to come out of his cage much, which tells me there is a problem that needs to be dealt with, and it'll be dealt with in the morning, I guess. So what was it that I wanted to... Laughing helps me handle every day, especially handle Trump in the White House. Yes, that's why Jewish people have such good senses of humor, typically. Because we, as a people, have had to survive a lot of tragedy, and the reason we are able to survive a lot of tragedy is gallows humor and other types of humor, joking about things that people might not consider it be okay to joke about, because that's the way we survive humor. So, let's see, poo. Poor Dan is sloppy seconds for the pets. I don't mind. Well, we're already talking dirty today, so I should just say I don't mind sloppy seconds. So, anyway, let's see. My daughter's male pit at around 100 pounds now. He don't sit in my lap. He just lays across my shoulders when I'm on the couch. Oh, that's so cute. Blanche does not want to be brought up on the chair with me, but she will jump up on the couch, and she was definitely loving on me this afternoon when I was giving her some belly rubs, and I was tickling her, and she was kicking her leg real fast. So, Blanche is my baby girl. I got Blanche because, you know, the cats didn't love me enough. So I was like, I need an animal that's going to love me. So I got Blanche, and Blanche loves me. And then we got Stan from the same person because she couldn't sell him to anybody because he was missing part of his leg. So there you go. Let's see. Did any see Musk's kid wiping his boogers on the desk today? Yes, I did see. About Elon Musk's kid X. His freaking kid's name's X. I did see about X. That should be child abuse to name your kid X. Like, everybody should call his son Twitter. If Elon Musk is calling his kid X, everyone should call his son Twitter. That's what I think should happen. Let's see. Dogs and tripod dogs are even better than the quads. Let's see. See, not much to laugh about on Mighty Liberal Dan show lately. I mean, Tim, did you rewind the show a bit? Go back in the stream about a good 5 or 6 minutes ago, maybe, and find the conversation about the Minnesota law. and you'll get a good chuckle, I think. See, it's like if people called their kid Blade after that movie came out. It's even worse than that. It would be like if the person who I don't know. I could handle somebody being named Blade after a superhero or whatever. I could handle that more than naming the kid X. I mean, just X. That's ridiculous. My family never laughed. I never learned to laugh till I got old. Really? Wow, that's really sad. See, yes, Dean. Jewish victims at camps kept their sense of humor. Yes, we did, or yes, they did. I was never in a camp. Oh man, I went to summer camp, but I wasn't at that kind of camp. But yeah. Let's see. And also, there was also Musk's kid calling, Musk's kid Twitter calling, telling Donald Trump to shut the F up too. Like, I mean, that kid knows what he's doing. Apparently, as kids get older, as Elon Musk's kids get older, they start understanding why Elon Musk is such a terrible person and start removing themselves from him. Now, maybe his own son at that young, maybe sees, oh, this guy's a piece of shit too. So that's about as bad as naming your daughter chlamydia. I've heard of a syphilis before. I have seen where kids were named syphilis, which is worse than, I guess, Lamangelo and Orangelo. And Male and Famale as well, because someone had kids and it said male and female because they had twins, and they were like, oh, those sound like pretty names. We'll just name our kids Male and Famale. Right? I think poultry is the most common dog food sensitivity. I don't think it's what he ate, although there are chickens in the yard next door. I hope he doesn't have the bird flu. So, naming kids Candida. Yeah. See, Musk has named most of his kids names that aren't pronounceable. I mean, it's Elon Musk. What do you want? He's very special. And he loves throwing around the R word a whole bunch. And maybe he thinks that because he has autism that somehow gives him a pass to use the word, but it's still gross. Just like him having autism doesn't give him the ability to, do the mustache man salute, as one might describe it on TikTok. No, your autism is not an excuse for bad behavior. So, see Dr. Evil and Mini-Me and the fat bastard sitting at the Reslo's ass. I'm dead sexy! I ate a baby! I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. Ribs. Chilies, baby back ribs. Get in my belly! Musk has been leaning hard on his supposed autism. He he sounds and acts like he's neurodivergent. Now, I don't want to ever see the words Elon Musk and hard on in the same sentence again, but I'll forgive you this once. See, I started making my own dog food. Then I bought Costco brand, and Honey Bear is good. Her large internal growth diminished. We did feed my old dog sushi. The dog's name was Sushi. We didn't feed her sushi. But she did have a grain allergy, and we did have to feed her the food from Costco instead of getting the science diet or whatever. So, but I think it was a grain issue and a wheat issue, and not necessarily a protein issue. So we'll see how that goes. I'll know about it tomorrow, and then we'll see what's going on. But let's talk about something else, shall we? Let's zoom this in a smidge. Elon Musk tweets out a poll. Federal judges who repeatedly abuse their authority to obstruct the will of the people via their elected representatives should be impeached. Well, no. I put no. And I'll put no again, I guess. Because, and this just shows how stupid people are. I mean, Donald Trump loves the poorly educated, and 87% of the 600,000 people who voted on this silly poll voted yes. Almost 90% of these people voted yes that these judges should be impeached because they're, quote, abusing their authority. This guy became a citizen in the year 2002. In order to become a citizen, you have to pass a test that tests your knowledge about civics. You have to have some sort of knowledge about the civics lessons and how our government works, and the three branches of government, and how each branch of government is co-equal, and that each branch of government works as a check and balance on the power of the other two. This is one of the many reasons why it's hyper dangerous for Elon Musk to be anywhere near the reins of government, to be anywhere near the reins of power, especially when Donald Trump is giving him this unfettered access that he has. He doesn't understand how government works. If he doesn't understand how government works, how's he going to fix it? It's like asking an 8-year-old to go repair a car. If you don't know how the combustion engine works, how are you going to fix the engine? If you don't know how the parts of the car work, how are you going to fix a broken down car? If you don't know how government works, you can't fix government. Period, end of story. But yet all these people are clapping all like stupid idiots, like a whole bunch of monkeys, with the clang. Yay! Elon Musk is doing such a good job! No. Elon Musk... That's the problem with conservatives on this issue. Many conservatives on this issue have this one main problem. We will complain about Elon Musk and what he's doing in the claim that he's making, government more efficient or whatever. It's not that we don't want government to be less efficient, or it's not that we don't want government to be more efficient. It's not that we don't want to get rid of fraud, waste, and abuse. We just don't believe that he's going to do it. And we'll get to that more in a second, either live or in another video that I'm about to post. But the fact that he has no idea how government works just proves that he has no business trying to fix it. What do you think? Agree, disagree? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, unless you're a Nazi, have a good day. So there's that. What's up, Wayne? Thank you for joining. Please remember to like and subscribe and share and everything like that. Wait, someone brought chocolate? I want chocolate. I like chocolate. Didn't federal judges ensure Roe v. Wade was repealed despite the will of the people? I mean, the will of the people is that abortion should be legal. But they went against the will of the people in overturning Roe v. Wade. So, what do you want? But then again, no, it's not, the people shouldn't get to decide what is right or wrong for government. There are certain things that have to be done. Like, if you don't like how government is acting, there are other things you can do. Like, pass laws. Get your elected representatives to pass laws and have them pass laws that are constitutional, so they pass a judicial review. Like, it's that simple. But no, Donald Trump doesn't want to follow the law. He wants to be dictator on day one, and in reality, it's probably Elon Musk that's dictator on day one. So. Let's see. Canada has been legal for quite a while. What has been legal in Canada? Oh, the candida, the marijuana, so to speak. Tony Orlando and Dawn. Yes. Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. Twice on the pipe if the answer is no. That was a bad ending of that. Ugh. I went a little flat on that one. Not my best singing performance. Do means you'll meet me in the hallway. Twice on the pipe, and I ain't gonna show. No, Joe, people can't pass laws, but people can elect elected officials to the legislatures to pass the laws for him. But if those laws that are passed are unconstitutional, or if the actions that are done are not following the law, then guess what? The courts get to review it, and the courts get to say yay or nay on whether or not you're doing your job in following the law. Right? I mean, that's simple. How I'm just a bill up on Capitol Hill. So, see, DJT, chairman of Kennedy Center, the least cultural person in the world. Going after culture is something fascist regimes do. Yes, exactly right. Donald Trump has taken notes out of Adolf Hitler's playbook, and he's playing it play by play. Like, we knew as a country what Donald Trump is going to do. We've been telling you what Donald Trump is going to do, and we could see that they're stacking 8 in the box, and that they want to run the ball, and we're defending the pass. Like, we're in nickel formation. It's absurd. We do know how SCOTUS will decide, and that's the ultimate thing, is that regardless of what these lower court federal judges are doing, they can appeal, and then they can appeal some more, but they don't want to have to deal with the appealing process. They don't want to have to deal with that. They want to just be able to say, hey, we're going to do what we're going to do. We don't want to be stopped. We don't want to have any roadblocks in the way. We don't want to have anything that we have to hurdle. They want to be able to have unfettered power in this country. Now, it doesn't help that the Supreme Court did give Donald Trump, immunity on pretty much everything. They say it's not. The fact checkers will say it's not, but the fact checkers won't include the fact that in practice, when you can't subpoena the presidential communications because they're all considered privileged, then you can't really go after him for anything because you're not going to be able to get the evidence needed to go after him for crimes committed while president, even if you're doing it after the fact. So, let's see. Can you sing an entire show? I don't know if I could or not. I also wouldn't want to... I'm not saying that I'm that good of a singer where I would get copyright violations, but maybe we could have a fun singing show one day. I don't know. We'll see. We should get Hal on, too. I could do duets with Hal. That would be fun. Me and Hal can sing Hunger Strike by Temple of the Dog. Or I'm going hungry, going hungry. See, I can't get that high part of the Chris Cornell. I've gotten some Chris Cornell songs when I'm at karaoke, but other ones I can't do. I'm fully confident in the fact that Hal Sparks can hit the Chris Cornell high notes of Hunger Strike. So, Hal sings too loud. Well, I mean, when you're singing like Chris Cornell, I've heard him do Geddy Lee from Rush. Like, if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to sing loud. And in fact, like, I can sing low, like, on some things, and sometimes I think things are more in my range if I'm lower than if I'm higher, but there are some things that in order to hit the high notes, you have to go over the note and overshoot it, and that ends up meaning that I have to be loud. Like, back when I was doing some of my pandemic parodies, like, I was having to do it, I was doing them at night and recording them at night, and I would try to keep myself quiet to not get all, but that didn't give me the range that I needed for some of the songs, but I didn't want to wake the rest of the family up while I was singing, like, Stay Home instead of Deo. Like, stay home, COVID come and you gotta stay home, stay. Me say stay, me say stay, me say stay, me say stay, me say stay home. Anyway, and then there's also other ones that I did. There's two Billy Joel ones. Stay Home or You'll Die Young. That's another, or Stay In or You'll Die Young, which is Only the Good Die Young, from Billy Joel. I like those lyrics. I was more proud of those lyrics than I was of Stay Home. And then there was also the other one that I did, talking about racist. Always a racist to me instead of always a woman to me. That's all those parodies are available on the parody playlist on liberaldanradio.com, which is the YouTube channel. So if you want to see a bunch of my parodies, you can go check them out. I actually have a couple of them that posted on my nerdydan.com website as well. Like, I had a Hanukkah parody, etc. So, you meant do the news in song. What, like Adam Sandler in Weekend Update? Like the opera man? Always a cultist to me. Well, it's always a racist to me is what I did. My favorite line from that one is I made you think that I was going to say a dirty word. Strom Thurmond's a favorite historical figure, and I'll always complain that he cannot say that word. So yeah, that's how I got away with that one. So. But I guess I could do Diane on guitar. That could work. The singing headlines. Maybe do headlines in a version of a parody. Make a parody of each of the headlines. That might work. We'll see. Let's see what else. So we've already talked about the Red, White, and Blue Land Act of 2025 because he's ridiculous. But let's see. Let's go ahead and post this video at the moment. Or let's see. Made it. Good evening, everyone. Hey, Steven. Good to see you. Thank you for joining the show. Opera Dan. Yeah. Oh, Sole. I did sing, what was it? During the Christmas time holidays, I did sing Oh Holy Night, wasn't it? Or at least part of it. And at least some of y'all were impressed with that, which made me feel good, right? So, anyway, let's go ahead talking about measure twice, cut once. So, main topic of the show tonight has been measure twice, cut once, or why I think Trump, Musk, and Doge will fail. And one of the reasons I think that they will fail is just simply because of the fact that they are not doing what you should do when you are doing like carpentry or anything else that requires a cut. Measure twice, cut once. Now, I don't care if the cut is cutting in government spending. I don't care if the cut is a piece of wood. I don't care if the cut is the circumcision that the Moyle's doing for a Jewish kid at 8 days old. Whatever the cut is, measure twice and then cut once. Because on that last one, you definitely don't want to cut twice because that would be an oops. But anyway, here is old President Musk talking basically behind the Resolute desk, making Donald Trump look like a weak fool while he's speaking. And there's much longer, but we're gonna just play this one for a second and just get to the point that he makes, and we'll then go on as to why I believe that Musk and Doge or whatever will fail in doing their stated goals. And there's a reason that they'll fail based on what they're saying they're trying to do. Even if they were really trying to do what they're saying they're trying to do, there's a reason why it would fail anyway, but then there's the real reason why it would fail, and we'll get to that as well. But first, let's hear what old Musky boy has to say.
Questions. Elon, go ahead.
Sure. So at a high level, if you say what is the goal of Doge and I think a significant part of this the
that's not the right one.
Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we would have to if you sorry. At a high level, if you say what is the goal of Doge and I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we would have to if you
Okay, Twitter, shut up.
Sorry. So, I tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes. If there's not a good feedback loop from the people to the government, and if you have rule of the bureaucrat, or if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have? They approve all the payments at Treasury, because if you approve all the payments, you don't get complaints. But now we're saying that no, actually we are going to complain if money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay. Your tax.
Well, here's the thing with that. Before we go on to the rest of the video, I mean, sure, on its face, great idea. Make sure that all of the things that are being spent are things that are legal to be spent on, that they should be spending on, everything like that. Sounds great, sounds wonderful, gives the conservatives a whole big soundbite as to, oh, the liberals are opposing it. But here's the thing, when they're just automatically pushing through funding for SpaceX, funding for his companies, then guess what? You're not doing that. You're not doing what you're saying you're going to do. It's just showing you that their intent is different than what they're claiming is. Let's continue this clip, and then we'll
dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people. I mean, these things.
And not every expenditure is going to matter to every person, but the thing is that they need to be done. Expenditures have to be done legally, yes, but the not spending also has to be done legally. Like when President Biden, when he didn't want to build the border wall, even though Congress appropriated the funds, the courts came in and said, no, President Biden, you may not choose to not spend this money. Congress appropriated the money. It now has to be spent on the things that it was appropriated to be spent on. So therefore, you have to continue building that wall. And this is before his deal that he brokered that Trump, dumped. But just as Biden couldn't do it, Trump shouldn't be able to do it either. They should not be able to sit there and go, oh, well, this is money that's being spent and we don't like it, so we're going to cut it because we can't prove or whatever they're claiming they can't prove. It's still, you can't not spend the money because Congress appropriated the money to be spent a particular way. The only way to stop Congress stop spending that money is to make sure that Congress doesn't appropriate it in the first place. But once they appropriate it and once it's signed into law, you now have to spend the money as Congress said. And if the president doesn't sign the budget, then yeah, the budget's not signed. But you were constrained by what Congress required of you when they passed the budget bill. Let's continue.
Like, it's just common sense. It's not. It's
The only common sense that this administration has is nonsense. That's the only sense that's common in this administration. It's nonsense.
It's not draconian or radical, I think. It's really just saying, let's look at each of these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is.
And that's the thing. I have no problem if they want to look at all of the expenditures and say, is this a good expenditure? Is this not a good expenditure? But then you have to deal with it in the right way. You have to deal with it in a way that is legal.
It's approved. If it's not, we should think about it. Some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. Well,
and that's the thing. What he was talking about in that part was simply the fact that they were trying to claim that condoms were being sent, like $10 million was being spent on condoms to Hamas because there was something in the expenditure that said that the money was going to Gaza. Well, unfortunately for idiot Musk, Gaza was not the Gaza in the Middle East. It's not the Gaza that Palestinians are living in. It's Gaza in Mozambique. So yes, he got that wrong. And he's going to get many things wrong. I mean, he says he's not going to bat 1,000. I'm sure he's not even above 100. Right? But that's the problem. When you don't measure twice before cutting once, you're going to end up with mistakes like that. There's very important things that our government is doing, and if they stop the payment on those things, it's going to cause more people to die needlessly. Now, we should be used to that under Donald Trump. I mean, you shouldn't ever have to be used to that. But under Donald Trump, during his first term, guess what happened? Hundreds of thousands of Americans needlessly died from COVID-19 because he mismanaged the pandemic. He didn't do enough testing. He fought people getting tested. And at the end of the day, hundreds of thousands of people in this country died needlessly simply because Donald Trump was worried about the optics. Well, in this case, if they're cutting important expenditures and not going to allow them to be spent because they don't like it, or that's one thing. But if they don't even know what it is and they're just cutting without even looking, it's like if you're the Moyle trying to go circumcise the poor 8-day-old kid, and you're sitting there and you're not even looking and you're just like, snip. That's not the way you cut. It's not the way you cut in government either. You need to look and see what the actual expenditure is and then cut from there. So hypothetically speaking, why this is always doomed to fail is because of the simple fact that they are not willing to do the hard work. They're lazy. They're unwilling to do the hard work that's needed to go into the budgets, look at everything in a fine-tooth comb, find the real unnecessary things that we're spending money on, and then have them removed from the budget when the budget gets passed. It's as simple as that. But that's if we give them the benefit of the doubt on face value that what they're really trying to do is increase efficiency, get rid of fraud, waste, and abuse. But if they wanted to get rid of fraud, waste, and abuse, one of the first place they should look is how Donald Trump spent government money, not just when he went to go down to Mar-a-Lago and all the Secret Service agents and everybody else had to have the federal government pay for them to stay at his resort. Therefore, he was making money off of the government. Like, remember, people said something earlier in the chat. Musk has zero salary for being in charge of Doge or whatever. But zero salary doesn't mean you're not making money off of it, especially if he's the one who's in charge of going over and approving or disapproving expenditures, and then he approves the expenditure that gives his own company billions of dollars. So he's still making money, even though he might not be officially drawing a salary. Donald Trump did the same thing. He might have donated his money from his presidential salary in his first term to charity or whatever because he didn't feel like he needed to take it or whatever. But he still used federal funds to put people up at his resorts, either when he went places and then all the other people had to pay to have to stay there because he didn't give them a discounted rate, not one bit. But he even told his other people, like when they were going to Scotland or whatever, they forced them a cargo plane that landed in an airfield that wasn't really designed to take such a big airplane because he wanted the government officials to stay at his resort in Scotland and not finding the best and cheapest and most affordable way to spend. If you want to have government be efficient, you don't send people just to go stay at Trump hotels and resorts or whatever. You find the best rate that you can possibly get. That's how you become efficient. If you want to increase government efficiency and stop government fraud, waste, and abuse, you'd stop allowing these politicians from writing in billions of dollars of tanks and planes and jets or whatever for the military that the military doesn't even want. The military doesn't want this crap, but they're still spending the money on it, paying off the military-industrial complex because that's who pays the campaign contributions. And those tanks sit on a parking lot, the planes sit on a tarmac. Nobody uses them, but we built these planes. And then if you say, well, I want to cut these expenditures, why don't you support the military? I do support the military. We should take half the money that's being spent on these unnecessary, unwanted, unneeded planes and tanks or whatever, and take half of it, just cut it from the budget, take the other half of it and spend it on things like veterans pay or military pay, veterans pensions, veterans benefits, mental health care for veterans, etc. That would all work to improve the livelihood and the lives of the people serving in the U.S. military. But yeah, what really is being done here, above and beyond the simple, they're not really cutting everything, they're only cutting things that that they don't like. Moving that forward or going on that thought. What they're really doing is just making an enemies list. President Musk and his lackey Donald Trump are sitting there and they're going through finding examples of spending that are being done by their political rivals so they can demonize their political rivals. I guarantee you, if he went and found some unnecessary spending that benefited Trump or benefited Musk or whatever, you know that they are not going to cut that spending, especially if it's to one of Musk's companies. They're going to take the pet projects and the expenditures of the people that they don't like, and then they're going to use that to villainize the people. Musk has even said that he thinks that the people who cut the checks for people who supposedly were being put up in luxury hotels, using FEMA money. But why would I believe that actually was a thing when Elon Musk already has verified to us that he's not going to be bothered to actually worry about checking the facts? He's just going to say whatever he thinks off the top of his head. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. It doesn't matter the fact that he got the Gazas mixed up. It doesn't matter that these were for condoms in Africa to fight the spread of the AIDS epidemic. That doesn't matter to him. What matters is they're making a list of political enemies. And they're going to cut those, and they're going to, because what Musk said about the people and the FEMA money that was supposedly spent in the hotels, again, I have no reason to believe that because he's already lied. And I actually understood the real moral of the story of the boy who cried wolf. Again, the real moral of the story is if you keep telling lies, eventually people are not going to believe you when you're telling the truth. Of course, the conservative version of the boy who cried wolf is if somebody keeps telling lies, you should keep believing them, because what if one day they tell the truth and you need to listen to them? It's dumb. It's stupid. But again, Doge will fail in doing what they're doing. But the conservatives are going to be like, oh, the liberals, they don't want to cut government inefficiencies. If I believe that was legitimately what Donald Trump was trying to do here, I would say that I support that. I wouldn't say that I support Elon Musk doing it, because Elon Musk has no business auditing government because he's not an auditor, especially not an auditor who has with a history of already knowing how to audit governmental expenditures. And you're like, well, what's the conservatives be like, what's the problem? I don't see the problem. Musk is trying to do whatever Trump wants him to do. No, again, what Trump wants him to do is something completely different than what they're claiming they're going to do. But let's roll reverse. Let's say Joe Biden was supposed to do something, wanted to do something that he claimed was going to help this country, and it was going to require an audit. And let's say he hired Bill Gates to do it. Would conservatives think that was okay? Would conservatives think that Bill Gates was somebody who could be trusted to effectively audit the nation's expenses? I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't believe it either, because he's in computers. He's a computers guy. He's not somebody who knows how to go into and audit a government accounts. He's not the right person for the job, and neither is Elon Musk. Which is why we are all standing up in opposition to what they're claiming that they're doing. Because even if they were 100% above board, legitimately, simply just trying to cut fraud, waste, and abuse, Musk is not the person to do it. But again, that's not what they're doing. What they're doing is building enemies lists and making it and using that to further their power in trying to fool the American public into thinking something that is not happening. Because again, I have no reason to believe anything that they're saying at this point. Why would I believe somebody who has no problem giving a Nazi salute in the middle of a Republican event or a Donald Trump event or whatever? I don't trust Nazis as far as I can throw them. And with my knees, I probably shouldn't be throwing anybody. Anyway, what do you think? Agree, disagree? Leave your comments down below. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and unless you're a Nazi, have a good day. So, So let's go ahead and open the phone lines, shall we? We will open up the phone lines. I know Big Hook wanted to call in last time, and we 562 LibDan1 562-542-3261 if you do want to call into the show. Big Hook may very well be the first. Let's see, but manga believes more after endless lies. They like to play pretend. To some of them, they don't even pretend. They don't even care. They don't care if what Donald Trump is saying is true or not. As long as Donald Trump is going after their political enemies, as long as Donald Trump is going after the people who they hate, they're going to just give him carte blanche to do whatever it is that he wants to do. Because that's all they care about. All they care about is owning the libs. Yeah, Krista, Musk has a personal stake in all of these departments that he shutting down. He has a personal stake in it because they're responsible for giving his corporations a butt ton of money. I guarantee you that Elon Musk is going to be the first official trillionaire because of Donald Trump giving him that much power, that much unfettered access. And of course, I played It Is What It Is, but you didn't hear it.
It is.
Thank you, Donald. Let's see. Oh, there is Big Hook. Let's go ahead and answer. I did answer it. Let's see, did it work? Can you hear me?
It worked.
There we go. I just went ahead and didn't wait for the prompts. I was like, I know to hit one. Let's hit one and get Big Hook on ASAP. So, how are you today? What's going on?
I'm hanging in there, but the problem is that there's just so much shit sticking to the wall right now. It's amazing, all the stuff that this, you want to talk about fairy tales and whatnot. It's amazing the crap that these guys come up with. I mean,
yeah. I
don't understand. I mean, at this point, you guys are sounding more Canadian than we are. You're having to apologize to the world.
Wait, let me see if I can do it right as a Canadian. Wait, let me say sorry. Is that good? Is that a good Canadian apology?
Well, yeah, it's a beginning anyway.
Okay.
But,
well, I'm trying to do I'm trying to get my, maybe if we have to sneak up into Canada, I have to work on my Canadian accent and say sorry. My wife, funnily enough, has never been to Canada, but when she says sorry, she actually says it and she sounds Canadian, and I don't know why.
It's probably that Southern Belle accent I'm imagining, but
oh, first and foremost, before we get into anything else, is it legal to eat beaver in Canada?
Oh God, I don't know. To be honest with you, we have it on our nickel, so I'm guessing probably not. I mean, if you know some of the history of Canada,
right?
We were renowned for the beaver pelt and fur trade for a long, long time. We had what they referred to as the voyagers, who used these big canoes to go up into the high parts of the country to go where the wildlife was, and then to basically do that Jeremiah Johnson lifestyle where you would go and live off the land and build yourself a cabin and make one yearly trek in with all your pelts and sell it all and buy all the supplies you would need to go back to your cabin and then toil it out for another year. But
lather, rinse, repeat, right?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. That's what people did back then. I mean, when it was cool to wear fur coats and all the rest of it. But yeah, I don't know. There is just so much going on, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. I'm thinking that you guys are going to have either a Kennedy or a Luigi solution on your plate as the only way to end this insanity, because at this point he's going to end your economy in 3 months.
Yeah.
Everything is going to come to a screaming halt because, let alone if he, even sooner if the continuing resolution ends and you can't get enough votes for it, because the Democrats are like, you know what, this is your shit sandwich and you have to eat it this time because we're not going to help you. So, where do you go with this?
And as well, they shouldn't, because when you see something going on that's wrong and you aid and abet it, you're complicit in it. So any of the Democrats who help and aid and abet what's going on are complicit in what is going on, including, I guess, Fetterman now, because Fetterman has decided that he's going to be, buddy, nice, try to make nicey nice with the MAGA type folks when, that's just appeasement. And we all know from Neville Chamberlain in history what a policy of appeasement will do. So,
well, that's just it. Stephanie Miller had John Pavlovitz on the other day, and he said it out loud. He said, "I've come to the realization that these people aren't Christians; they are just racist bigots. They pretend to." They wear it as a disguise to pretend that they're righteous and whatnot, but in the end, they're irredeemable, and, the only way for this to work is for them to see that, without these other people in our society who do the jobs that nobody else wants to do, plus, all the other factors that go along with that they're all going to suffer. And when the government is gone, they're gonna have nothing. They're going to lose absolutely everything, and then the billionaires are going to swoop in and buy everything up, and basically they sign their own names to an indentured servitude pact to be slaves for the rest of their lives.
Pretty much.
I don't know. I'm guessing you must be starting to think maybe I better get the hell out of Louisiana at some point, because it's gonna hit you guys pretty fast, I would think, being in one of those red states that refuses to accept federal money.
Yeah, it's tough. I think if we would have girls, like if we had girl children, or anybody who might be able to be pregnant, we might have left Louisiana sooner than and not have stayed around, simply because of the fact that we wouldn't want to have young girls living in a state that would have such draconian abortion measures like our law is, because our law is much like the Texas law, with a very minor tweak that will I think enables emergency contraception to be taken, which some other, even though all of them technically they should be allowed, but these people still stupidly think that emergency contraception prevents implantation, which there's no evidence that it does. But yeah, if we had girls, we probably would have been gone from Louisiana by now. We're probably looking for a way to get the hell out of Dodge. Hell, maybe not even the country. I don't know. But again, where do you go? How do you get there? The mobility of people to be able to get out and move, it really depends on, your wealth. And they're trying to they're trying to make it impossible for the people who are not already wealthy to gain wealth, because they're burdening us. They're going to with added tariffs, which is going to cause the price to go up. He hasn't fixed inflation at all. Eggs are skyrocketing, and he's not handling that because we can't have any information from the CDC about bird flu, because giving out information is seen as bad to Donald Trump, because again, no information is better for him because it doesn't hurt his optics as much as showing information that would say that things are bad. So,
well, that's the question now is, what's going to end up happening, because you got RFK now in, and, is it going to take another pandemic to wipe out the MAGA folk it's going to be Darwin Awards on steroids with the stupidity that they've gone to, because they're all like, oh, I'm not going to take any vaccination. Oh, I'm not going to wear a mask. Oh, I'm going to continue my lifestyle of high cholesterol smoking and doing whatever, makes me feel good.
Well, I've heard, I forget who said this, but there was somebody who was out there that basically was like, I hope that we get a disease or a virus or whatever that comes along. And he was like, I want the virus to have a vaccine that perfectly protects you 100% of the time. But if you get it, you go. So basically, anybody who gets the vaccine, you're safe. And if you don't take the vaccine, you're not. And that solves a bunch of our problems. I don't know.
But currently, right now, the only vaccine that they have working in their favor is luck. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're betting that something bad won't happen. And it's like, hello, climate change, air pollution. I mean, once you guys remove the EPA, you guys are going to be forced to live off bottled water. And, how is this making life better? Like, these people are so stupid they can't see the trees through the forest. It's just beyond. They've been emotionally manipulated to the point where they're brainwashed that they don't even see survival. They think it's this own the libs crap has made them suicidal. Because they don't realize it. They're cutting their nose to spite their own face. It's ridiculous.
And like back during the pandemic, when I saw all the people arguing and fighting about masking and masking up and social distancing and taking vaccines or whatever, like, I'm sitting there going, in the grand scheme of things, COVID is not as bad as other viruses could be. It's not as deadly as it could be. What happens if a virus comes out? I mean, we talk about 100% mortality. What happens if a virus comes out that has a 10% mortality rate, where 10% of the people who get it, who are unvaccinated, die? Like, are they really going to continue playing that up or playing that and doing that risk? I mean, it's mind-numbingly stupid for them to do so. But then again, Donald Trump did say after the 2016 Nevada primaries that he loved the poorly educated. So, I mean, and that's the thing. Is like his support requires the stupid people to continue to support him. And if the stupid people end up passing away from a virus that's more deadly than COVID or whatever, then he's not going to have the same support. Of course, now that he's in control of government, almost the only thing that could potentially save us at this point almost is a loyal military. If he tries to go too far.
Yeah, but you guys have defunded the NIH, so who's going to come up with a vaccine or a cure? Because then you're basically going to either rely on us or the European nations to come up with a solution, and I don't know where it's going to go, because that's the thing. We don't have nearly the infrastructure as well as the technology that is available to you guys to do the research and come up with a solution. And let's face it, they were upset that the girl that came up with the COVID vaccine was a black woman. They were just absolutely outraged, and that was like the number one reason why they refused to take it, because they were like, I'm not taking that.
Right, and then they worked in some conspiracy theory that the mRNA stuff is going to reprogram your DNA and it's going to put 5G into your body and all this other BS. It's like they're so easily fooled. A sucker is born every minute, as P.T. Barnum is cited as saying. But
yeah,
and these people are suckers, and they will believe anything Donald Trump sells them. You know, whether it's an NFT or a Bible or a shoe or a watch. And then if he doesn't, you know, and then if they turn out being like horrible products, they're like, it was the libs' fault. Somehow it was the liberals' fault. So.
Well, the next question is that are these guys gonna? We're at the constitutional crisis where, you know, are they going to follow the judge's orders, or are they just going to play stupid and pretend that they don't know anything? And then the other question is has Elon basically had his coders fuck the whole entire treasury system, where the money can't go where it needs to go because he holds the key to decide who gets money and who doesn't.
And also, what if he hacked the system in such a way that makes it so that he has perpetual access to the system from this point on? Like, you know, put in a back door somewhere to be able to enable him to get into the code and be able to,
well,
you know, they're sitting there trying to make us worry about, you know, voting machines and how hackable they are. Well, I mean, why would we worry about everything else that is hackable? Why are people not concerned about the data security when it comes to what Elon Musk does? Again, because they're not going to question Trump, because to them Trump can do no wrong. But, you know, the rest of us.
But why would you bring in coders? Why would you bring in coders to do an audit? They don't do audits.
Because he's not an auditor.
You bring in auditors to
right.
You bring in auditors to do that.
Right.
And he's the world's richest man who has access to the best minds possible when it comes to auditing. And he went the other route, which means that he's up to something.
Yep.
You know, this guy has fucked over more people than, you know, I mean, it seems to me like it's a competition between him and Trump as to who can kill more people and have that legacy, that Hitler legacy of, you know, genocide. I don't know. It's worrying, you know. I mean, that wasn't a Hitler salute. He's just eccentric and enthusiastic. Bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
That motherfucker knew exactly what he was doing. He hasn't fooled anybody, but the saddest part is that the maggots think it's cool. They're like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to pretend that it didn't do it. I'm doing this, and I'm going to say this shit because it outrages the libs. And it's like, you realize he's not going to spare you.
Right.
You may think if I approve of all the crappy things he does that he will spare you from what he's up to. And it's like, no, you're part of the con as well. He's going to strip you of everything. You know, I mean, I'm half convinced.
I know, I understand. It's fine. I found myself repeating myself all. I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, there's some of it where I know everything. A lot of it that he's doing is all based on corruption and corrupt activities, and he just wants to shake government and take all the loose change out of the proverbial government couch. But there's some of me that also thinks that Donald Trump is doing things just to see if he can get away with it, like testing the boundaries, like kind of, you know, poking and prodding at it to be like, oh, okay, you know, I can get away with this. Let me see if I can get away with this. Like the nomination of Tulsi Gabbard as the Director of National Intelligence. There's no reason why Tulsi Gabbard, someone who's a Russian stooge who cozy up with Assad, should be anywhere near the office of the Director of National Intelligence. Like, I'm wondering if Donald Trump just sits there and he's looking around and is like, I can't believe I'm getting away with this. I can't believe how stupid these people are. Why are they letting me do this? Well, let's keep trying. Let's do something else now to make ourselves look even, to see what else we can get away with. And they're going to keep letting him get away with stuff until it's too late, and he gets away with too much stuff, and then we're done. I mean, I don't know how we recover from his presidency, and we haven't even been in his presidency an entire month yet. Like his the damage that I see incoming is so great. And look, I'll be more than happy to admit that I'm wrong when I'm wrong. Like when I'm wrong, I will say it. I'll say, look, I was wrong. I was incorrect about this sort of thing. If Donald Trump is able to do some great things, then I'll give him credit for it. Of course, I don't believe that he's going to do great things because all the other crappy things that he's doing. It's very hard to do great things while also supporting evil things. You know, they don't mesh well together. And it's, but I gave Trump, I think, in his first administration, credit for like 3 things that he tried. Like there was some legislation that he got passed on right to try. So if you're sick and need to try something that hasn't been thoroughly vetted completely through the FDA, but it's done some trials or whatever, that you would have the right to be able to try to not be denied, I guess, by your insurance or whatever. That's fine. I don't care. I mean, didn't help a lot of people. There's some action that he did when he was president that enabled some people who went to these certain class of clinics to be able to get insulin and EpiPens for free or cheap or whatever, saving them a bunch of money. It really only affected like 1/10% of the entire population, but still not a bad thing to have for those 1/10% of all the people. They just blew the impacts of what was going on. Of course, Joe Biden implements something that actually makes it cheaper for everybody to get insulin, at least under Medicare and Medicaid. And then what happens? Trump rescinds it. So Trump really has no care in his world to help anybody, and he's going to, again, cause people to needlessly die when they wouldn't have had to had we had a President Harris, so to speak.
Well, the question is now, will protest along with the courts be enough? Because at this point, I hate to say it, but I have dark thoughts as to what the solution will be, and they don't leave certain people with a pulse or the ability to breathe.
I'm going to record this little bit real quick, but while it's still on my, am I forgetting it now that I've actually said that I was going to start recording it? Crap. Well, I'm going to start recording something, but I don't remember what it is that I said I was going to record. So a hedge enemy says in the chat, I'll give him credit for the vaccine development. That's it. I'm not even going to give him credit for that because the first vaccine that was developed was not developed via Project Warp Speed. It was developed independently of his administration. And then when they developed the vaccines, he didn't have a way to distribute the vaccines. Like, he left Joe Biden holding the bag. It was like, well, here's all these vaccines. Good luck. There's no way to distribute them. Have fun. And then, of course, Joe Biden said, we're going to get 1 million shots at arms by July 4th. And then he got 2 million shots at arms by July 4th. So good on him for actually taking the shit show that was the Donald Trump administration and turning it and being able to take those vaccines and get them distributed to people, which probably saved a bunch of lives. But,
but here's the thing. What gets me is that, it goes from Obama right through to Biden.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't prosecute these guys. Bush was responsible for war crimes, and he destroyed the economy. And Trump did the same. He basically destroyed the economy, and he did all kinds of reckless shit, and tried an insurrection, even though the courts in 60 cases said no. There is no election fraud.
Right.
You don't have a case here, and they didn't put him in jail and make him ineligible to run for president.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the thing that a lot of people misconstrue. He could be a felon and still be president. Like, I used to think that you couldn't be president if you're sometimes I think I changed universes, because I could have sworn when I was in high school that I learned that felons couldn't be president, but apparently that's not the case. And he is a felon. I mean, he literally is a convicted felon, and he's president of these United States. So him getting, he could have probably, there was actually one person who back in the day, he wasn't even close to winning, but he actually ran for president from prison, from jail. So, and these people still would have stupidly voted for him.
This is the thing that gets me. You guys have had great presidents. They weren't completely perfect, but you had JFK, who basically kept you from destroying yourselves with World War III via the Cuban Missile Crisis. And what happened? Boom. He gets shot in Texas.
Yep.
Then his brother Bobby gets assassinated because he knows how to run things as well, and would steer America in the right direction. And but what they miscalculated was that LBJ would they thought, oh, he's one of us, he's one of the good old boys, he'll do what he won't go down the same path as the two Kennedy brothers,
Right.
and what ended up happening, they miscalculated, and some stuff got pushed forward, and that was a good thing. But it's this constant battle of stuff, and the worst people continue to survive, who should be in jail. I mean, we constructed Guantanamo, and you guys have two presidents who qualify to be in there. I mean, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
And you guys are, and I mean, it used to be, especially with Reagan. I mean, what is so ironic about it is he said, "Oh, America is that shining beacon on the hill," and it's like, no, you aren't.
Right.
We keep seeing it over and over again. This flip flop of, oh, really good Democratic presidents, and then all of a sudden we go Republican, and the country gets turned over, and we decide, oh, let's go pick a fight somewhere and end in a 20-year war, and make enemies everywhere we go, and I mean, what do you do?
I mean, conservatives love to paint a pretty picture about things. Like, again, Reagan, shining city on a hill. Hell, even conservatives now talk about Ronald Reagan, and they try and paint him out to be this, this guy who should be looked at wonderfully, although these same people are going to put Trump above Reagan as their best president now because they're obsessed. But even the Ronald Reagan of that time, I mean, Reagan gave amnesty to like 12 million people who were here undocumented. Reagan did a whole bunch of things that that strawman Reagan would have opposed, but they love strawman Reagan. They don't love real Reagan. And real Reagan, while crappy, still would have been a zillion times better than this fool we have right now, and his lackey Donald
Reagan
Trump.
just hated black people more than he hated people of Latin American heritage. That's all it was.
Yeah.
I mean, and then on top of that, it was a complete contrarian because he did the Iran-Contra thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he pretended to be good on one hand, but then he was bad on the other. I mean, he just basically did that thing. I mean, they should have put John, what's his name, Oliver North in jail, and they let him off.
Yep.
And I mean, this. You guys claim to be law and order, but you keep, giving yourselves ways out. Whether it be, oh, we're not held to the standard of the United Nations International Criminal Court. We're not capable of being, we won't accept you guys charging anyone like us there. And the same thing. I mean, Bibi Netanyahu should never be allowed into the United States. I mean, he's recognized as a international war criminal.
Right.
I mean, we don't know what the real death toll is in Gaza.
Right.
I mean,
Now,
But
granted, we don't know
mean,
what the real death toll is on both sides, because I don't know. I wouldn't trust Netanyahu's government to give us accurate amounts of information from who died in Gaza. But I also wouldn't trust Hamas to give us accurate information on who dies. And the Gazan Health Ministry is basically just Hamas with a different name. So it's kind of hard to say. But obviously, there many more people died in Gaza needlessly than should have, because Netanyahu should have been more restrained in his response. Hell, Netanyahu should have responded to the impending attack of 10/7 before it happened and prevented it from happening. But it's my opinion that he allowed it to happen because it was better for him and his legal woes for him to actually, let the attack happen and then respond to it than it was for him to stop the attack so no one could see how big it was going to be. But yeah, like you talk about law and order, law and order with a big old asterisk, because, Trump doesn't go to prison for the crimes that he clearly committed, especially on the documents case, because he had somebody in the Florida courts to rule on the pretrial stuff and the trial stuff, and they only had a 1 in a 9 shot of getting that combination of getting her for both, and he did. He got damn lucky with that. He pardons the J6 people who attacked cops. He pardons, who else did he pardon? He pardons Eric Adams, mayor of New York. He didn't pardon him, but he told the Department of Justice to drop the charges against him.
He gave him. We'll see how you
right.
act, and we'll judge whether or not to charge you based on your actions, whether or not you'll let me raid New York and remove a whole bunch of people who already have temporary permits there. And it's like,
I mean,
I don't know.
He even let off Blagojevich, like Rob Blagojevich. He clearly did pay for play. Republicans in Illinois said clearly he did pay for play. Trump says he was set up by a lot of bad people. It was a sort of terrible injustice. But if you ask the people, Jill Tracy, a Republican from Quincy, Illinois, this man abused his power, and there definitely was pay for play. Former House Minority Leader Jim Durkin, I guess of the State House, was the ranking Republican on the panel, which recommended the House impeach Blagojevich. He says Blagojevich was not set up. Rod Blagojevich, or as Jon Stewart would say, Blagojevich, set himself up. He deserved what he got. His convictions on the various charges, whether it was shaking down Children's Memorial Hospital, pay-to-play situations.
He served only 8 of 14 years, right?
I think so. And then also the trading of then Senator Barack Obama's seat. It was plain as the nose on his face. It was plain as the orange nose on Donald Trump's face. But these are Republicans who are saying, no, Donald Trump is wrong. And I'm sure those Republicans will not get elected to office anymore because Donald Trump will go attack them. And then his voters, his diehard people are going to say, oh, we're going to primary these people to make sure that they can't say these bad things about our president, because we love our president. And the Republicans and conservatives and MAGA types love to talk about so-called TDS, or Trump derangement syndrome. The only derangement that takes place with Donald Trump is the derangement of continuing to support him despite the fact that we've seen everything that he's done and you're still supporting him. It's just bizarre.
Yeah, but at this point, the Republican Party is basically Elon's bitch.
Yeah.
He basically owns them all. He has basically said, "Oh, you know what? If you don't like the way I do things, I'll put somebody who I can get for cheap to primary you, and I'll take you out." And it's like, and these guys are like, they're already. I mean, as Randy Rhodes was saying, they're already multimillionaires,
right?
And they're so lazy they don't want to do their job. So I mean, at this point, all they want. Letting Trump do what he thinks he should do protects them, because there won't be any more elections. They'll just decide, I'm here because I belong here, and you can't tell me any different.
Right. That's why I said before that we have to rely on a military that's not going to be corrupt. That's not going to be convinced by Donald Trump to do whatever it is they want to do. Just like the Egyptian military stepped in and stopped their ridiculousness from happening as well.
You think it'll come down to martial law at this point?
I I don't put anything past Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump may very well try and he might try and invoke martial law using the Insurrection Act. He may try that. But, but if not him doing it, then it is a responsibility of our military to protect our republic against enemies, foreign and domestic. And I mean, Donald Trump is eventually going to do things that are going to cause even more people to say he's an enemy of the republic, and it is the responsibility of the military to step in and say and stop it, because that's the oath that they took. Will they follow that? Who knows? But also it's hard to tell. I mean, you brought up the courts earlier, and this is the part that I want to record, and I remembered again. I brought up, the fact that, Donald Trump has been getting smacked down a little bit by people in the courts. And that's why Elon Musk and other people like Jeff Carrera on his morning show, that's why these people are calling for the impeachment of these judges, because they don't want these judges doing their job, i.e. standing in the way of illegal actions by the president. But judges have already said that the Trump administration or the Musk administration is not following their orders. So what happens? If the president has immunity for everything that he does, that's an official act. How then will this nation be able to, operate if Donald Trump basically decides to call people's bluff, if he decides to play chicken with the judiciary and then goes, you know what? I'm the president. I think I have unlimited power. This is what the people elected me to do. I'm not going to listen to what these judges say. I'm just going to do whatever it is that I feel like doing and force the hand of the people who might want to step in and stop me. And I can't. That is, I think, maybe how things go down. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but unfortunately, I've been right too many times. But I think that things are going to go down in such a way that Donald Trump is going to be told by the courts that he can't do something, and then he's going to continue doing it because he's going to play chicken with the courts, and then it's up to the others to determine, either the House and the Senate, which won't do it because they're Republican controlled and is completely beholden to Donald Trump. So I have no faith that the Congress is going to do whatever it is that they need to do to protect the republic that they swore an oath to. So then who else can step in other than the military? So anyway, it's
do you think those 3 seats that are up right now for special election, will? I mean, I'm praying, and you know me, I'm not religious, but that seems to be like the only barrier you guys might be able to put in there to stop this before he completely tanks the economy and brings about this dystopian future that you guys are not going to be able to crawl out of. I
don't know. I don't know if those seats are all winnable for the Democrats. If they were able to do it, great. And then the House flips. We have Speaker of the House Jeffries, and then it's potentially a whole new ball game. But I don't have any faith or trust, because all the Republicans are going to do when they're trying to replace the idiots that they have to replace, and it was stupid for them to even allow to appoint these people who are members of the House. It was stupid of them to allow them to go take the other positions in his administration, because you're then putting that slim majority at risk. But they probably think that they can get away with it because they believe that they can fool the American people into rejecting, because the Democrats are a part of so-called woke culture or whatever, and they have this huge problem with people who are woke, and as such, they're going to hope that the Democrats can't muster up enough of a solution to be able to take back the House early. So I don't know. Maybe in 2026 we'll be able to take back the House, but again, that's if we have elections. Do we have elections at that point? A lot of the times I would scoff at people who would say, I don't believe that George W. Bush is going to allow elections to happen. He's not going to cede power. I thought that was ridiculous and silly. When people said that about Obama, I was like, I think that's ridiculous and silly. But now that President Trump's in there, I don't put anything past him, and I absolutely think that it wouldn't be beyond him to try and use his believed authority as president, because he shouldn't actually have this authority, but to just shut down elections and be like, I'm going to be a dictator for life. And then half his supporters are going to clap like insane little monkeys, because while they might claim to love this country, they really, in fact, just love Donald Trump. So
Well, they love money more than anything, and the thing is that they're all backed by billionaires who basically tell them what to do and what to say, and who what. I mean, the question I have is are you guys too far down the road to be able to possibly turn back? And that's my biggest worry, because it's like we keep saying, oh, Donald Trump can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out that he does.
Right.
Because there's nobody there to hold his feet to the fire. And, and this is why I keep saying it's either going to be a Kennedy or a Mangione solution at hand. Because at this point, and this is from a place of great concern for you guys, because I know there are a lot of really smart, empathetic Americans out there who didn't sign up for this shit show. I
raise my hand as one of them. I didn't sign up for this shit show, not one bit.
And like I said, I say this stuff not as a slap to the face of you guys, but as constructive criticism as to what is it going to take to fix what is so fucked up. You guys have got to change your laws. You guys have so many loopholes for absolutely every crime on the books that,
That's because the criminals write the laws. The people who want to be criminals write the laws to enable them to get away with their BS.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to rewrite the Constitution and rewrite the laws and everything else? Because that's basically what it's going to have happen, unless you guys are going to, become, a dictatorial nation, or you're going to have a civil war, and it's going to be the North versus the South again, with separation of principles as well as separate governments. Because I don't see any other solution.
Well, I'm sure Trump sees the final solution.
You can't join Canada.
I'm sure Trump sees the
final.
You can't join Canada. No, I'm sure Trump sees the final solution, but then again, he's a fan of Hitler. So, but yeah, and like the Canada thing doesn't make any sense to me either. Like, why they're obsessed with the idea that Canada is going to become the 51st state. Why would Canada be even if all of Canada decided, yes, we're going to join up with America and be buddy together in one nation under the Arctic or whatever, and then
we have our own collection of idiots here too. The conservatives idiots here do things. But the thing is that usually once they reveal their cards and people see what the extreme options are. We had Stephen Harper here before, and then he started suggesting that, maybe we should look at using the same model that the Americans use for healthcare. And boy, that was the end of him. He was gone. He was gone, because they were like, you don't touch our healthcare. And, and you can claim that you have done this and that and the other thing. And what he did was he basically cut all scientific research funding and all the university and college grants and whatnot, and said, we're saving money and whatnot, and we're making lower taxes for big business and whatnot, and the richest amongst us, because they don't have enough already. And it's like, they keep playing the same fucking game. Whoever dies with the most toys wins, and it doesn't help anybody.
Not one bit.
Right, I don't know what else to say. Anyway,
hey, you're about to sounded like you're about to anyway, and I was like, all right, I do need to. I wanted to go over a couple more things, especially these stupid executive orders. But thank you again for calling in, Big Hook. Appreciate it. And again, you're always welcome to call in. And I hope
Canadians care about you guys, but we wish you would get your shit together and join the rest of the sane world. Because it's not that difficult. And you have to ignore these idiots and stop giving them thoughts that they are somehow superior, because they're not superior. They're just stupid. You know, it's what bugs me the most is that they can't see how stupid they are and how everything that they talk about only hurts themselves more so than the people that they think are hurting them, which is a complete false dichotomy.
Right.
You know, it's just racism that has been generationally, you know, told to them, and they've just they can't see any other way. But anyway, I've gone on way too long.
That's fine.
Anyway.
I mean, you know, it's only 42 minutes you've been on the phone. It doesn't seem like 42 minutes, though. That's the thing. So, anyway, so that's why it's a good time.
Okay, well, I'll let you. I'll let you finish
appreciate
your
you,
show.
Big Hook.
Thanks.
No problem. You have a great one, and a good rest of your night.
You too. Thank you, Dan, and to all your followers. Okay,
Thank
bye.
you so much. Bye. Again, that was Big Hook calling up from the Great White North of Canada. Do want to say something before this scrolls off the screen. Arizona Sunflowers goes, I think we Dems all feel defeated and just trudge through the muck some days, but you have to laugh sometimes. House Sparks and Dan here both make me laugh, and it helps. Look, if I'm mentioned in the same sentence as House Sparks is making you laugh, I'm thrilled. That's thrilling. I mean, I was impressed when I got Hal to laugh at a couple of things when he called into my show previously. But if I'm making you laugh, if I'm included in the same sentence as Hal Sparks, I'm making people laugh. That makes me feel really good, because you know that's part of what I think that I like to bring to the table is a little bit of humor on top of the seriousness. So, but anyway, let's go ahead. We'll leave the call-in thing on, and we'll talk about some of the presidential actions that Donald Trump has done, shall we? If you do want to call in, again, well, I guess the call-in number's not there, but it's 562-LIBDAN1, 562-542-3261. I guess I could add that here as well. Hold on. Image, at existing, call-in, go. Make it smaller, because it needs to be smaller. There we go. Call in, 562-LIBDAN1. It's right up there now, too. Hey, look at that. So, let's go over some of the newer ones that we haven't gone over yet. One voice for America's fallen relations. Is that a Freudian slip? Purpose. Article 2 of the United States vests power to conduct foreign policy in the president. Presidents rely on their secretaries of state and their subordinates to ensure that the United States is served and protected. As the principal steward of the president's foreign policy, the secretary must maintain an exceptional workforce of patriots to implement this policy effectively. The policy being all officers or employees charged with implementing the foreign policy of the United States must under Article 2 do so under the direction and authority of the president. Failure to faithfully implement the president's policy is grounds for professional discipline, including separation. The personal procedures of executive departments and agencies charged with implementing the president's foreign policy must therefore provide an effective and efficient means for ensuring that officers and employees faithfully implement the president's policies. Foreign service reform. Secretary shall, consistent with all applicable law, reform the Foreign Service and the administration of foreign relations to ensure faithful and effective implementation of the president's foreign policy agenda. Secretary shall, consistent with applicable law, implement reforms in recruiting, performance evaluations. So basically, he wants a bunch of loyal lackeys who are not going to be loyal to the United States government, but are instead going to be loyal to him and him only. They don't swear an oath to anybody else. They swear this to him or anybody else. They swear an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. But Donald Trump doesn't care about the Constitution of the United States, as we all know. Adjusting imports of aluminium, as our friends across the pond might say, into the United States. On January 19th, Secretary of Commerce, or 18, transmitted to me a report as investigation on the effect of imports of aluminum on the national security of the United States. Secretary found and advised me of the Secretary's opinion. Aluminum is being imported in such quantities under such circumstances as to threaten or impair the national security. In proclamation back then, blah, blah, blah. In proclamation back then, blah, blah, blah. Notwithstanding the 10% ad valorem tariff imposed by Proclamation 9704 that mitigated the threat and impairment, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 lots of blah, blah, blah. But basically what he's going to do is he's going to basically make it harder, I guess, to import. See, I, Donald Trump, President of the United States, by the authority vested in me in the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim the provisions of Proclamation 9758 with respect to imports of aluminum from Argentina, Australia, Canada, Mexico, European Union, United Kingdom. Shall be effective as of 1201. Provisions of Clause 1 of Proclamation 9980 as applicable to imports of derivative aluminum articles from Argentina, Australia, Canada, and Mexico shall be effective as of 1201. Eastern Time, March 12, 2025. All imports of aluminum articles and derivative aluminum articles from these countries shall be subject to the additional ad valorem tariff. So basically, he's going to make the price artificially more expensive, which is going to not do a very good job of, helping us with our economy and with inflation and all that good stuff, because he doesn't care, and if you're going to reduce the imports of aluminium, as our friends across the pond would say, if you're going to decrease the supply, that's just going to make the price go up even more than what they would by adding the tariffs onto it. So, another dumb thing by President Trump announces the President Intelligence Advisory Board. Since the President doesn't have any intelligence, I don't think we need to go over that. It's a useless committee. So much for government efficiency. They made a board about the President's intelligence that's not even applicable. Implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency Workforce Optimization Initiative. Doge Boy? Is that like Soldier Boy? Doge Boy? Is Workforce Optimization Initiative, is that part of another acronym? I'm surprised they didn't make it like Workforce Optimization and then like put a K and an E to call it Operation Woke or something. Pursuant to the presidential memorandum, blah, 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 the hiring freeze director of OMB shall submit a plan to reduce the size of the federal government's workforce through efficiency improvements and attrition. The plan shall require that each agency hire no more than one employee for every 4 employees that depart, consistent with the plan and any applicable exemptions. So that's cutting the workforce by 75% of those, at least for those people who leave. So, can you imagine how bad this government is going to be, losing the brain drain that will happen by losing all of those people? I mean, they already underestimated. He thought that like he might get 10 to 15% of 10 to 20% of the people taking part or taking advantage of his stupid early retirement or quitting plan or whatever it was, his fork in the road deal, the memo, so to speak. He already, got that blocked by a court, which of course made him angry, put his old panties in a bunch. But, he still got some, but it wasn't as much as they anticipated or they wanted to be, I guess, kicked out, so to speak. So, but even then, the union sued, and they actually got the court to agree with him, at least temporarily, as we'll see as it goes up through the court system to find out whether or not those things can be re-implemented or if it needs to stay. I'm assuming once it gets to the Supreme Court, I have no faith that they will uphold any prevention of that, and it will allow it to continue to happen. So, whatever. But yeah, you're going to lose so much talent, so much thing. And imagine how much you get rid of all of those people. You get rid of all of those people. And, like, all those people are now unemployed. So what? So that then the economy is going to tank because you're going to have less money because the unemployment rate is going to go sky high because of Donald Trump. Going to bankrupt the unemployment funds that are in each state. It's gonna be an absurd situation. Adjusting imports of steel, probably the same thing as adjusting imports of aluminum. This is the one that's just crazy. Pause. I have a short on this that's up on the channel here at liberaldanradio.com. Pausing Foreign Corrupt Practices Act enforcement to further American economic and national security. I mean, how is this making America great? How is allowing people to commit acts of foreign bribery, to bribe foreign officials, how is that at all going to make America great? Newsflash, it's not. It's another BS thing. Ending the procurement and forced use of paper straws because Donald Trump sucks so bad that he can't even use a straw. An irrational campaign against plastic straws. Oh, irrational because we don't want, bits of plastic. We want to reduce the amount of plastic that are being thrown into the sea. Just don't use a straw to begin with, right? I mean, usually I don't use straws. Do you see me using a straw with this cup? There's no straw here. Look, it's all strawless. Very easy to drink out of. Or if you're going to use a plastic straw, use a recyclable, not a recyclable one, but a reusable one. Keep washing it, so therefore you can use it multiple times, and you don't have to throw it into the trash heap, so it ends up either in our oceans, putting drops of plastic, little microbes of whatever, of plastic into our waters, and if our fish then eat it, so then we're ingesting it when we eat our fish. But Donald Trump doesn't care about that, I guess, because he only likes hamburgers. So... yeah, Molly, amazing how people fall for all of Trump's BS. Suckers born every minute. Donald Trump loves the poorly educated. Of course, I think we talked about Gulf of America Day 2025. You know what? I was going to forget about this, but I do need to give a shout out. Shout out to MapQuest. Yes, MapQuest. Shout out to them. Why? Because Google frickin' caved and renamed on Google Maps the Gulf of Mexico to the BS alternate name that shall not be said unless absolutely necessary. MapQuest, on the other hand, keeps it as the Gulf of Mexico. So MapQuest is the hero we need, not the hero we deserve. We all gave up on MapQuest, and now MapQuest isn't giving up on us. Good for MapQuest. I tried to see if Waze would work, if Waze would show. Waze doesn't appear to show the name of the big bodies of water. I didn't see a name for the Gulf of Mexico or whatever Donald Trump wants to call it. I didn't see any. I only saw like street names or whatever. So, yes, straws. What a hero! I can be your hero, baby. I can take away the paper straws. Yeah, ridiculous. Paper freaking straws. And how is that making America great? How is that reducing the price of eggs? How is that reducing overall inflation? How is that helping us at all? Newsflash. Again, it's not. See, Marsha, my cat is recovering slowly per surgery. I've been up all hours trying to get her to eat and drink. She does, but very little. She's 13-year-old. I'm so sorry to hear that, Marsha. We have someone who has dealt with sick cats previously and more recent past few years. I definitely can sympathize and empathize with what's going on. In fact, Stan, my brown lab, who's not even a year old yet, may very well have an infection that probably needs to be treated tomorrow. And I'm not looking forward to that bill. I'm also not looking forward to the bill that will be coming from, from the hospital. Because, Cassie has already reached, I think, if she hasn't done it already, she will, by the end of this day, she will have reached her maximum out of pocket already. So that's just $4,000 that goes shunk right out the window. So, yeah. Anyway. So there's all those, executive orders that have been signed, I guess, since the last time. I'm still I try not be shocked by anything that Donald Trump does. When they announced that he was pardoning Blagojevich or whatever, I was just like, why? Why would you do that? But then again, why would he drop the charges of, Eric Adams, mayor of New York? Well, for Eric Adams, he probably wants a lackey. Somebody who's going to be beholden to him, is going to do whatever he wants, because now he has the threat of, oh, well, if you don't do what I want you to do as mayor, I'm just going to bring the charges back up again. And one would think that would qualify as prosecutorial misconduct, but who the hell knows? Because how would federal prosecutorial misconduct be determined except for via other federal judges? And then if it gets all the way up to the Supreme Court, this activist conservative Supreme Court will just say, nope, sorry, it's fine. We're not gonna go against Hair Donald and his bad hair. So, wow, Mrs. Quiddy's 21 years old. Wow, that's an old cat. So, my dog just had surgery yesterday, cost $600, and I feel like it's having another child. Hell, if I felt like I could, if I knew that tomorrow was only going to be $600, I absolutely would be ecstatic. Maybe it'd be less. I don't know. Hopefully, he just needs antibiotics. I hope it doesn't need to be anything else, because I don't know if we can afford much more of anything else. And I don't want to lose my dog. We already took all this time and effort to help save this dog because the dog already had a gimpy leg and was not, my little tripod of a dog. You know, I don't want to lose my dog, but you know, hopefully it's just a minor infection that can be dealt with and treated. We will see. So, Janelle, I'm scared he was talking about the brown shirts. What, me talking about the brown shirts or like the brown dog? So, $455 for a blood transfusion for a free beagle puppy. Wow. We had, what was it? We had a pup that we had gotten when I was, I think, in middle school, maybe. And her name was Crystal. And another lab. And on her first birthday, Crystal decided that she was going to go and dig, I don't know which she ate first. At some point in the process of her eating thing, she ate an entire box of almost 300 Q-tips. However, she also went after the ones that were dirty in the trash. So we had to bring the dog to the pet emergency room because they needed to do an operation to take all of those Q-tips out of her belly, because it wasn't just something that they could cause her to puke up. They had to go in, and they weren't doing the surgery on her, and I was mad that they weren't doing the surgery on her. Why? Because there was another dog that was in dire straits. Apparently, a giant, like, Great Dane type sized dog mated with a tiny, like, Bichon-free small toy poodle dachshund type of dog, female. And so you have little bitty dogs trying to give birth to puppies that are made in half by a big dog. So they needed to go in and do a C-section for this dog. So because of this dog's C-section, we almost lost my dog in high school back then, or maybe also middle school at the time. Absolutely ridiculous. That's funny because I was in Boy Scouts at the time, and we had gotten the dog from a friend of mine who was also in my Boy Scout troop, and both dogs participated in the pet show or whatever because we were going for the pet merit badge. My dog ended up getting like 6 awards at the pet show, whilst the dog's mom, who was also in the show, only got like 2 or 3. So I was like, oh, look at that. The child outdid the whatever. But the point of the story was over the cost of it. Apparently, my mom had also gotten her tax refund just then. And basically, she had to spend all of her tax return trying to fix the dog. So, thank you, Jan. I appreciate you so much for the contribution. You're awesome. Again, the GoFundMe is posted on, it's linked on the top. It's pinned on both chats, on Twitch and on liberaldanradio.com. So, if you want to share it, if you want to contribute to it, I appreciate any help that can be given. Again, if you can't, I don't expect everybody to contribute. If you can't, you can't, but at least give it a share. Also, if you want to, you can again share this link as well. Don't just you could download it, but you could also copy it and share it as well, which is the link to this game. The link is also on the show description on the live feed, which is at liberaldanradio.com, which is the Best Fiends game. Again, my nerdydan.com account that I play live stream gaming on Tuesdays at this point only, but I'm doing that, and I get sponsorships every once in a while. It's free to play. Download the game and play it for good, but you have like another 2 weeks or so to participate in. Like you could get, I could probably get, if everybody did everything that they needed to do, I could get probably $1,000 just simply by playing this game. As it looks right now, I may only get like $150, $200 at most, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But let's see, my cat had cancer in her tail. Whole tail had to be removed. Holy crap. That's crazy. I mean, we had taken in a cat off the streets that was living by my mother-in-law's house. He ended up having feline leukemia, and one of the things when our first cat died, we found that he had feline leukemia, and then very shortly thereafter, her other cat that she had adopted after Katrina passed away. And when they did tests to see what was wrong with him, it was just old age or whatever. Like, it wasn't anything, like, he didn't get feline leukemia, so I was happy that, I wasn't happy that he died, but I felt glad that he didn't die from feline leukemia, simply because of the fact that if we would have brought in this cat into our house and then that cat would have given our first cat feline leukemia, I know Cassie would have felt horribly guilty over that fact. So fortunately for us and for her, it wasn't the case. It was just Sylvester was old and it was his time to go. And then, of course, S'mores died of feline leukemia and, well, whatever. So... Dude, what's talking about with Surrender Monkey? Wait. So I had a Dane Mastiff. He got a twisted guy at 7.5 and didn't have 10K RIP. Oh, a twisted guy? Oh, gut. Twisted gut. Okay, there you go. I saw the correction. Is feline leukemia? It is communicable if, like, the cats share a litter box or if they share food. It's not guaranteed to be, but it is communicable amongst the cats. It wasn't amongst dogs or whatever. Then again, I don't know if we had s'mores with any dog. We might have had s'mores with sushi. So, anyway, I'm confused at the... Oh, are you from the UK, Surrender Monkey? Okay, that's what he was asking. I mean, if you spell words with a U, that have an unnecessary U, you might be from the UK, or at least across the pond. Or if you say it aluminium instead of aluminum, of course, you know, we spell it aluminum without the extra I because, you know, we don't like to write as many letters, I suppose. But, yes, thank God it's not with people. Absolutely, 100%. Although, I mean, they say that some people have... There was one person who got bird flu from birds in Louisiana. And of course, the conspiracy theorists don't believe that he caught... That this person, you know, just randomly caught it. They're like, this must be something wrong. There must be something else here. It's not the simple solution. We're going to look for a much more complicated solution to try and explain why there was this human person who got sick from bird flu. Well, sometimes cross-species mutations happen, and keep him away from everybody else, it should be fine. And then, you know, he was old and he had other issues, so that's why he got sick. So, but yeah. So, I spell it the way no God would. Hilarious. Anyway. Another one in Arizona reported. Not surprised. Again, it's very small. It's not a huge thing. I mean, of course, back in the day when we first thought we only had 13 cases of COVID, we had many more cases of COVID. Like they were reporting 13 cases of COVID around Mardi Gras of 2020, when in Mardi Gras was like a super spreader event. Absolutely. But I'm convinced that I caught COVID at the end of January when they didn't have any tests, and they said, "You have a virus. It's not the flu. Here you go." I'm like, great. And then I realized after the fact, oh, I must have had COVID. So. It is... Wait, I'm sorry. That's Herr Donald's line.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Anyway, so I think we've covered everything that I wanted to talk about on the show today. Let's see if I've missed anything. Courts following orders, law and order, but pardons, Musk not understanding civics, the Musk video in the Oval Office, measure twice, cut once, eating beavers. That will be the first thing I upload, is the whole eating beavers thing. Red, white, and blue land, Tulsi confirmed. Apparently, RFK Jr. is also likely confirmed at this point, and that's just even scarier for what's going to go on with this country and the health of this country. We went over executive orders, including the foreign corrupt practices, the ability for people to be able to continue to bribe people overseas. And then, of course, the part of Blagojevich. So there's that. So, Arizona, just the word fecker. Nice. Oh, Jolie, they're making you work again on today. Can't get that schedule right. I mean, if you have to work, go work. I appreciate you. Hey, Bill, what's going on? Of course, you're coming in and waving, and of course, I'm wrapping up the show, so to speak. One last funny story from today. I'm walking into the hospital today to bring my wife didn't have her CPAP machine, so I bought her CPAP machine. She needed some other things. I bought her the water that comes with the distilled water for the CPAP machine, a whole bunch of other stuff that I brought in or whatever. Just so I made the trip to go see her before I picked up my son from school. And I'm walking in, and the person who's working like the security / valet at the entrance that I walk in from all the time is like, "How's your wife doing?" And I'm like, "Do you remember that I came here with my wife? How is that even possible?" No idea. But I was like, oh, thank you. She's doing really great. She's improving. She's showing lots of signs of improvement. You know, it seems to be going well, and they seem to finally have perhaps a handle on what's going on. Not realizing that it wasn't the fact that she had a great memory. I'll show you why in a second. As I'm leaving, I give my wife a kiss goodbye. She goes off into the next thing that she needs to do as part of her physical therapy or the rehab or whatever. And then as I'm walking, there's a woman who walks past me who looks at my shirt and laughs. My shirt says, "It's not easy being my wife's arm candy." That's why the person out front knew that I had a wife in the hospital. I guess she assumed that I had a wife in the hospital because I'm wearing the shirt to go visit my wife in the hospital. So I was just completely forgot what shirt I had worn, even though I specifically wore the shirt just to make her smile because I know she likes the shirt. Although, unfortunately, I do have some tears in the shirt, so I think it might be the last time I wear the shirt. At least it might be the last time I wear the shirt out above and beyond just doing things, inside the house. So, anyway. Let's see. Anything else in the chat? Jackie, I was in the hospital, just got out yesterday. Glad you got my message. Hope you're doing better, Jackie. Hope you're fine. Let's see. Rook 1, same one here. Got sick mid-February, no way to test. And everybody told me that when I started realizing the fact that I was, that I'm convinced that I had COVID, they were like, that's impossible. They only had 13 cases. They only had 13 known cases. And then they moved back the time when COVID actually came. So there you go. To Jolie, we've had trouble keeping staff. They keep firing people. They need to stop hiring idiots, so we're constantly short-staffed. I mean, we hired an idiot as president. What else do you expect? Right? If you hire an idiot as president, you're not getting the best and the brightest at the top levels of this country's government. Do we really expect to not hire idiots at, other establishments that are private? No. Donald Trump has set a horrible example for the rest of the hiring world. So anyway, unless something big happens that I need to come on and talk about this again, I've done special shows before. I'm definitely won't be doing a special show on Valentine's Day because I'm going to go have a nice romantic time with my wife in her hospital room, which basically means I'll be hanging out with my wife for a few hours in the hospital room. So there's that. Her Miller-Fisher syndrome or whatever that she has, which is Guillain-Barré subset, has made it so that we have to spend Valentine's Day together in a hospital room. So, whatever. At least she's gotten to the point where she can now eat things again. So I'm very happy over the fact that she can now eat things, and that things don't all taste like garbage, which was the main thing. But then once that started happening, the leg thing started happening too. And then it started snowballing. But fortunately, the snowball stopped before it became a huge avalanche. We're now getting good progress both on her physical therapy and on her being able to actually just eat food and tolerate it. So hopefully what I bring her on Friday will be something that she'll enjoy. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining the show. As always, remember, download the game, Best Fiends, nerdydan.com. The Best Fiend, it helps that stream if you download the game and play it. Share, contribute to the GoFundMe. There's also Venmo. Venmo is no fees if you just do friends and family. Buy me a cider. Go to liberaldan.com. Click the Buy Me a Cider button. I was about to say I forgot to put some of the notifications up on my channel, but I do have that one up still. So I don't think anybody has contributed since I've gotten the new laptop that I needed to get, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to do a show because my old laptop was probably about to explode at some point soon. So anyway, thank you, Bill. Appreciate all of your good thoughts and all of your support. Y'all have been awesome. I can't imagine having I can imagine having a bigger audience. I can't imagine having a better audience than right now. So I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Y'all make this worth doing, regardless of how much money I bring in. Y'all these past few years of this podcast ever since Hal came on and brought a bunch of y'all over here these past few years. And there are other people who trickled in from other shows, and I appreciate them too. But, you know, the fact that all the sparklers have come in and a lot of sparklers have become liberal Danimals as well, it just means the world to me. And it means so much. And I'm so thankful and grateful for each and every one of you. So, I hope y'all have a great rest of your night. Again, if there's something special that needs to happen, or another special show that has to happen, or if anything big happens, you'll more than likely see it as a short coming up on YouTube until I can get around to, you know, maybe sometime Saturday. If there's a reason to have a special show on Saturday, we'll have a special show on Saturday. Thank you, Bill, for being a liberal Danimal. Appreciate you as well. But we, again, for those listening watching on Twitch, we will be having a hard out until I can actually find a good outro music. I can't find the one that I used previously, and it's pissing me off. Oh well, it is what. Wait, I'm sorry. That's Trump's thing.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Anyway, so to everybody again on Twitch, hard out. Otherwise, we're going to be playing the normal outro music. And with that, I bid you adieu. Have a good night. Peace.
For gas, and I